this close to a stranglehold on this series, and instead, now you're in a battle. That concludes Game 3 of Round 2 here against the Florida Panthers. Tonight, an overtime loss coming off of what was an unfortunate bounce off of Morgan Rielly, who, by the way, I mean, on a lighter note, does kind of finish with a hat trick here tonight. Opens one up with a goal himself for the Panthers, and then gets one for the Maple Leafs, and then closes it off with the OT winner for the Panthers. But we'll break down tonight's game, the 2-1 Maple Leafs series lead against the Cats, and we will be joined as well by Nick Alberga on tonight's show to help us break down everything that's going on here in this series, live on location from Sunrise, Florida. So we'll talk to Nick in a moment. Before we do, just a quick reminder, tonight's show is a presentation of Bet365 as well. Proceeds from our Super Chats, which I am seeing a few of them are coming in there already. They're popping into the show. If you guys want to get your Super Chats in, you want to have your question or your comment read on the show, send in your Super Chats. Proceeds from your Super Chats go to Sick Kids Charity, number 1 in Canada, number 3 in North America. We will read any and all of your questions, comments, or concerns, and then after Nick, later on, we will take calls as well. Let's now get to Nick Alberga, and before we do, a moment from our sponsor. It is time now for the Ninja Crispi Hotline, presented by the Ninja Crispi 4-in-1 portable glass air fryer.
Meet the first of its kind, the Ninja Crispi portable cooking system. The power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand, so you can cook big or small batches. Just prep it, crisp it, serve it, and store it all in one.
The Ninja Crispi is an all-in-one system that includes 4-quart, 6-cup Tempware glass containers and 2 storage lids. The Ninja Crispi is thermal shock resistant and can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispi Power Pod, you get the power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hands. The 4-quart container fits 4 pounds of chicken or veggies. You can cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes in the 6-cup container. Max crisp, bake, air fry, and re-crisp. With the Ninja Crispi, you can prep, cook, and store anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals. Visit their website in the link in the description. Stay tuned for a chance to win a free Ninja Crispi from one of our lucky fans. Now, with that, let's get to our first guest of the night, live on location in Sunrise, Florida, Nick Alberga. Nick, it is a tough overtime loss that takes this from what could have been 3-0 and an overly positive, comfortable feeling with having that one in the pocket. You know, you talk about splitting them on the road. You would have gotten that one out of the way here early. Could have been up 3-0, had a stranglehold on the series. Instead, now it is a battle, and you are going to have to go balls to the wall, if you didn't already here tonight, to get this thing 3-1 before you head back home for Game 5.
Had to be that fucking Marchand, right? Like anybody else in this damn arena, but it's Brad Marchand, and just Plink goes off 17 different people. And that's just been the career of Brad Marchand against the Toronto Maple Leafs, man. But all in all, I've already parked Game 3, tense moments in this arena. I thought the Maple Leafs played really, really well. Like, I think anybody who thought the Maple Leafs were just going to roll in here, win this series in 4 games and move on to the Eastern Conference Final was smoking that Chiba, dude. I just expected a response by the Panthers. They got the job done tonight. Having said that, I still am weirdly and eerily very, very confident about where this Maple Leafs team is at right now. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I do. I mean, obviously, being up 3-0 would have made it a lot easier. I don't think I did not expect a 4-0 win there either. And you know, I think the one thing, too, in all of this is, yeah, there was a period of time there where it's like, wow, that sucked. You blew the lead. It was 3-1. Goes 4-3. You're down. You did fight back. It did go to overtime. It is an unlucky bounce. And, Nick, on top of that, there were still a lot of positive signs that we've seen this team showing and exemplifying through the 2 wins to open up this series and to lead this series. You know, it's the battle back. It's never being out. It's not being pushed to the side and saying, okay, you know what, you've got this one. And even on top of that, it's a couple of the goals by the Panthers here tonight. One, as I mentioned off the top, one of them is off Morgan Rielly's stick. Another one is a clusterfuck in the slot that ends up being a save by a broken stick to Brandon Carlo, and then it gets jammed in, and Carlo and Wall kind of collectively knock it together, and then the OT winner off Morgan Rielly as well. There's still positives despite the fact that you did blow this one, and I thought that this was a pretty good showing from this Leafs team tonight, knowing that the Panthers were going to come out swinging.
Zach, they're playing like a team. I can't remember the last time I've been this proud to be a Maple Leafs fan, where they're in the fight every shift, every game. The resiliency, the response. Again, you're not going to win every game. I think it's a game of bounces and puck luck. And it just seemed like it, weirdly enough, like it seemed like the Leafs are getting a lot of bounces in this game. And then it's like the Florida Panthers who win it. But all in all, I mean, the body of work, I think if you're Craig Berube through 3 games, and if I were to tell you before this series you'd have a 2-1 series lead, you would certainly take it. I think there's just a lot of good things to grab. I'm not one for consolation prizes, as you know, but from this game specifically, there's a lot to grow and learn. And I know we hate sort of that phrase in this market, learning lessons, but I just like the fact that the Leafs were in the fight. How many times in recent memory in the Stanley Cup playoffs do you watch a game and they look disinterested? I thought every guy pulled their weight. They played hard. They played strong. They played heavy. They played with passion, desperation, urgency. Sometimes you got to tip your cap. Like, again, they're playing the defending Stanley Cup champions for a reason. There's going to be pushback, and I thought they handled it really well tonight, Zach.
Quickly here, just a side note, because I actually was wondering this. In OT, it sounded like it was getting going. What was the fan situation like tonight? There wasn't much reporting on that as there was in the Battle of Ontario.
So we were a bit shocked, actually. Not much blue and white in the building, which I don't know what went on with the ticket sales. Maybe they weren't selling to outside market. But, yeah, it was very, very Panthers dominant, and maybe that's a byproduct of the Panthers winning the Stanley Cup last year. A lot of passion in this market. But, yeah, it was predominantly Panthers fans. And to that point, I thought the Maple Leafs did a really good job early on in the game and taking the crowd out of the game. Of course, the sequence of events in the second period, they stormed back from 3-1. Fans are back in it. I thought it was a really good time out there by Craig Berube to get everybody settled, and they got back to their game plan. But I thought for the most part, for a road game, again, when you're playing the defending Stanley Cup champions the way they are, I thought the Maple Leafs did a pretty good job of icing the crowd in this game. I don't think there was as much of a factor or impact as I expected, but it was a loud barn, I'll tell you that.
Let's talk a little bit about Joseph Woll here. He seems to be the topic of conversation when it comes to the chat right now on Leafs Nation After Dark. Specifically, there's a comment here. Let me read this to you, Nick. I've been saying trade Woll all season. He is the reason they lose this series.
Oh, my God.
What do you make of Joseph Woll's game here tonight? I don't think he's the reason they lost this game, but there were some tough moments from Joseph Woll, specifically the one that I thought was going wide, and he reaches out to blocker it. He misses it. It hits the inside of his arm. It's in the back of the net, and I believe that was the 4-3 goal to give the Panthers their first lead of the night.
Yeah, your reference to the Thomas Nosek goal. It wasn't a particularly strong night for Joseph Woll. I concur, though. Like, I think there were some bounces that went in favor of both sides, and the Leafs got some bounces, certainly. And you even look at the game-winning goal. Like, it was just a weird night of bounces in general. But I think when you look at Woll, the thing that surprised me is that he's been known for his calm, cool, and collected nature. And it just felt like the moment was a bit too large for him in this game. Like, he just didn't look comfortable. And I think without question, a big-time game plan of the Florida Panthers, make this guy play the puck. I don't know how many times, specifically in OT, they just wrap it behind the net. They know he's going to go play it. And for the first time, I think, in this series and in this season, I'm starting to realize how much of a drop-off there is from Stolarz to Woll when it comes to playing the puck. And there's no doubt in my world, at least, that it's certainly a game plan of the Panthers to put the puck in the hands of Joseph Woll. He just looks nervous, tentative, second-guessing himself. And when this guy's dialed in, he's none of the above. So I think there's got to be some semblance of concern. That being said, if there's a guy who's going to park it in that room, it's Joseph Woll, and just look forward to Game 4. Because as we know by now, I mean, Anthony Stolarz, as far as we know, is not going to be a factor for Game 4. And then who knows after that. They need Joseph Woll to rise up and have a marquee signature type game in this series for sure.
So you talked about the nerves from Joseph Woll there. Just a quick side note. What were the nerves like for our producer friend sitting beside you and probably behind the camera right now as A, the lead was going and disappearing, and B, his boy Joseph Woll was looking a little shaky?
I believe Vicky pinched me once when they scored the 4-4 goal. It really hurt. I was looking at my computer, in fact, when they tied the goal there in the third period, and Vicky pinched me because I had to forewarn him a couple times. You actually can't cheer in a press box, and he did a pretty damn good job. You know, Merrick's a professional beside him, but Vicky was a little fired up, and I said, your hot takes are not looking too great right now. I mean, some have been awesome, some not so much. This guy was calling for Anthony Stolarz' head in like game 1 against Ottawa. Well, you got Joseph Woll, and he is becoming a story for the wrong reasons. I think certainly in the off day tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of conversation, weirdly enough, because I didn't think it was going to be a combo in the series, but goaltending on both sides. Like Sergei Bobrovsky, they're getting to this guy. If you recall a couple years ago, they could not solve Bobrovsky. Everything but the kitchen sink of this guy. He was so dialed in. I think that's a big factor, too, is the Maple Leafs are scoring goals. And you think when you score 4 goals, you're likely going to win a hockey game. But unfortunately, some bounces did not go their way. And I think Wall struggled and has struggled since entering this series, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, on that Bob point, the one thing, like Merrick and I had this debate the other day, and we were talking about whether it's better to go with the Carolina Hurricanes model of like anything and everything on net and see if it, try to get a goal out of that kind of stuff and just hope that an opportunity arises, or maybe wait and take advantage of the higher danger opportunities. And my argument was just like, you get those greasy ones, and the Leafs kind of put pucks towards the net. You look at the Marner game-winning goal the other day. You look at the Morgan Riley goal here, what Bob saves, but it hits Jones and ends up in the back of your net. Like, you keep putting the puck on the net, and there's some shaky ones that are going in and beating this guy. The last thing I'll ask you here, and then I'll let you get out of there and go enjoy yourself tonight in Florida, but the other thing that I'm being poked about here in the chat, people are getting mad at me. Wall's not the conversation, Zach. 34 is. And now there's conversations about limiting his minutes, and he hasn't shown up, and Nylander looks good, Tavares looks good, Marner's had an impact. Where is 34? What'd you make of his game here tonight? Because, again, we talk about the defensive matchup, how he goes up against Barkov, how the two of them face off against each other, and I think that that's all amazing, that's all great, but Luke Fox, who I'm sure is up there with you, he tweeted out during the game and was like, Matthews leads the NHL in missed net shots. Crazy. That's a tough stat for a guy who scored 69 goals last year and is paid $13.25 million, no matter how good he's playing defensively.
I'm probably on the wrong side of the equation here, but I thought Matthews was pretty good when you compare him to some other games he's played here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I thought he made an impact. I thought in general that top line for the Maple Leafs is really, really dialed in. I love the way they started the game. I mean, I've run out of superlatives to break down the game of Matthew Knies, even the back check on the 4-4 goal. Like, that guy is just so locked in right now. And for 22 and how clutch he is, it's actually surreal. But I think when you look at the body of work of Matthews, I almost like discount and don't even talk about the defensive aspect. But I thought he was really good defensively in this game. That goes without saying. But I understand, like, you need dominance when you have a player of that ilk who makes that much money. You need dominance. I don't think he's been near or close to that level just yet. But I don't look at this game and say this is one of his worst appearances or efforts in the postseason thus far. I thought he was pretty good. Had some good looks. In general, I think if you were to sort of rank the lines, I think the Matthews line is probably number one for me. I thought they were all around it. Were key contributors on a lot of big time goals in this game, and I thought Marner was better in this game. I thought Knies, like they definitely showed. In fact, I'd probably look at like Willie Nylander had a sort of quiet night by his standards. So I don't know if you view it the same way. Again, like it's a really weird feeling because I know they lost this game and it stings. It's Brad Marchand. You lose in OT, but I still think the effort's there, the desperation's there, the urgency's there. Like sometimes the bounces are not going to go your way, and not to sign up to a consolation prize. But again, I still feel very, very confident, comfortable where this team's at. Like the moment didn't look too big for them. Like the way they started this hockey game, they took the pace, took the game to the Florida Panthers. There's just a lot to grab. And there is reason, again, for Leafs Nation to feel very, very optimistic the Leafs are going to find a way to win this series. Like I think, again, if you're up 2-1 in a series and you win the first two games, you're feeling good about things. Now all they can do is move on to game 4 and hope for the best here in this series.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree with you in terms of how well he played and impacts on other aspects of the game. And I thought he looked pretty good in transition. I thought he looked pretty good in the D zone. But no matter what, I'm just going to still always come back to the point of like, you were drafted to be a goal scorer. You showed you were a goal scorer. You were paid to be a goal scorer. You have 2 goals. I get what he's done elsewhere. It's got to elevate. It's got to be better there. Actual last thing. Do you make any changes in the lineup? And there's very specifically one guy who could come in.
Well, I mean, did you see the tan on Dennis Hildeby there? Holy shit!
I tweeted
man.
that before the game. I'm like, this guy's in the fucking beach this morning.
Like, so we're not privy to the TV broadcast. In fact, we have TNT here, and there's like a massive delay. There's a screen right in front of us. But did they mention why Hildeby's backing up? Like,
no.
Did Murray get hurt walking to the off the bus? Like,
it wouldn't be surprising. That's how it's careful what you say.
We never know what the fuck's going on. But no, I don't envision lineup changes. Again, I think, again, the whole body of work, and I hate the fact that I'm celebrating a loss. I'm not doing that, but I think there's building blocks there. Like, guys pulled their weight. There wasn't really one player where I identified and was like, wow, this guy was lost tonight. Like, I think everybody contributed. You mentioned some bad bounces, like Riley, giveth, Riley taketh away. It wasn't one of his best games, but like I think they're still playing as a team. You know what I mean? Like, there's been so many times in the Stanley Cup playoffs where you're like, okay, that guy was good and that line was good. I still think they're playing their game and they're playing like a team. Yeah.
The chat is saying that Berube just said right now in his post-game press conference, Matt Murray is sick.
You're fucking kidding me. You have to be kidding me. Like, we joked about it in the press box. This guy, there's no way.
Yeah.
I know Hutch. Dude, this is the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're in round 2, and you're the third string goaltender, and you chanced it because you're sick to Dennis Hildeby, who they show you could tell Hildeby wasn't supposed to play this game. He's got the tan cooking.
Yeah.
He's the fourth stringer. He's a black ace. And you're telling me Matt Murray was sick and couldn't dress tonight? You couldn't wear a ball cap on the bench?
Unless he's got to be wearing a diaper, you should be on that fucking bench.
Man, that is insanity to me. Like, that is, I was joking. I'm like there had to be a reason why Matt Murray wasn't backing up. That's crazy, dude. That is crazy stuff.
I can't believe that. The chat, like 4 or 5 people in a row, Colton Davies, they're pointing it out. He says, Berube just said he's sick. That's unreal. That's unreal.
But anyways, I mean, just to look ahead, we're going to do Leafs Morning Take on location tomorrow. It's going to be me and Jeff Merrick. We've given Rosie the day off. He's been working hard. Great time in Toronto as well. And we're going to look onwards to Game 4. Again, this was not going to be easy. There's a reason why this is the defending Stanley Cup champions. They pushed back tonight. Brad Marchand, a big-time goal. He's made a career of that. And I think for the Maple Leafs perspective, I love the fact that there's been that response, Zach. Like, we have not seen that in the past where they get punched in the face, they cave, they call it a fucking night, dude. These guys are right back in the mix shift after shift after shift, and that gives me the confidence with the coaching. You just hope the goaltending's a bit stronger, but guys are pulling their weight for the first time in 21 years. Like, think about that, man. It's so weird to me, even flying down here, where it's like, I feel really good about these guys, man. They play like a team. We have not seen that in recent memory, at least in the last decade, dude.
Yeah, I thought that the team, it was a good team effort. I thought they showed up and were ready to go right away. Yep. Obviously, I would have liked them to be able to kind of put an end to that Panthers push a little bit quicker, but I'll give them the credit for tying that thing up and battling back and sending it to OT. And you're this close. You're this close to being up 3-0 there, heading back, going into Game 4. That is so. I can't fault them on that. There's more stuff we'll break down here on the show tonight. We're going to take callers on the Leafs Nation After Dark. But, Nick, thank you for doing this out there in the press box in Sunrise, Florida. Good weather out there for you guys today. You guys get to enjoy anything at all?
It's beautiful, dude. I've barely have time to eat. Straight to bed after this show, back up in the morning.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night I'll try to take a peek, but we're very, very gassed here. So we're going to reset. We're going to retool just like the Leafs will. I don't know if I'm going to spend as much time on the beach as Dennis Hildeby, but we'll be ready to go. I'll be ready to go tomorrow. I'll be ready to go on Sunday, bud.
All right, Nick, thank you for joining us here tonight. You enjoy the rest of your night, and tell Vic it's okay. We're still up 2-1. Joseph Woll has a chance to bounce back on Sunday. It'll be okay.
Dude, Vicky's up against it. I don't know if you watched the show today, but this guy left the carton of darts he bought on the plane, and then he goes to get back, and they're like, they're gone. And I'm like, what do you mean they're gone? So he spent $150, doesn't get darts. He's stressed about the series. Poor Vicky, man. He's already bald, right?
Oh, no.
Did you not know this story? You didn't watch today?
No, I was
Yeah,
very busy today.
so Vicky bought a carton of Premier Dart.
Oh no. I think we might have just lost.
I noticed after we got past security, and then he tried to get it back, and they're like, they're not there. And I was like, what do you mean they're not there? Pretty much tipped to the cleaning service on the plane. They got free darts, great quality darts, and producer Vic was rattled.
Oh, God, that's tough. All right, Nick. Thanks for doing this tonight. I appreciate you taking the time. Everybody make sure to tune into Leafs Morning Take tomorrow morning. Go get yourself some rest.
See you, buddy. Take care.
All
Thanks for having me.
There you go. Nick Alberga hopping on the post-game show here tonight to help us break this one down. Thank you to him for stopping by. Thanks to producer Vic for setting that up. Quickly here, if anybody wants to call into the show tonight, I want to open up the lines. We haven't had call-ins in the last couple of games, especially considering that we were at Greta, and it's a little bit difficult for one. Two, people stop by the show and jump in and give their thoughts. We saw the guy with the Cheeks Kapanen jersey in the last post-game show. We've seen just numerous various cast of characters. I don't even know what I'm trying to say there. A variety of characters stopping by the post-game show to give their opinions, as well as Jay Rosehill, who was in person. And whenever we can get Rosie out in Toronto, we're going to take advantage of that and have him on. So if anyone wants to call into the show here tonight, I did just send the link into the chat. I will pin that one in the top there, so you guys click on that. Give me your thoughts. Let us know how you feel about this game tonight, this loss, and the fact that the Leafs are up only 2-1 in this series here now. I do want to kind of just give my thoughts and walk through some of this here tonight. The Leafs showed at points there old Leafy moments. Old Leafy things where there was just like some tough defensive zone play. There was some sloppy stuff that happened, and then you could feel it kind of getting away from you. You could feel it slipping a little bit. The thing that I will give them credit for is that they did fight back. And every time Florida had an answer for something, cut it to 2-1, they got it, they made it 3-1 again. They pushed back. They opened up the lead a little bit more. Florida did climb back into that thing, tied it 3-3, make it 4-3, and then the Leafs did push and push and push on their own, and then they tie it up themselves. And then I thought they looked really, really good in that overtime period. You know, consolation prize, because at the end of the day, it's a loss in the playoffs, and it's not like it counts for anything. You don't get any points. You don't get a pat on. You basically just get a pat on the back, but you don't get anything more than the pat on the back. I thought they looked good in that overtime period, but you know, you look at the pushback and the fact that they did have some type of response, I will give them credit there. The tough thing for you here is that 3-1 lead and the collapse, because a couple of parts to it. Regardless of your pushback, regardless of the fact that you had responses and the fact that you were able to kind of stay in this game and not let yourself just wither away and let it get completely out of hand, where this thing could have just opened up and been cats and rag, 5-3, 6-3, whatever it may have been. You got to look at it as well from this perspective as a Leafs fan and understand why the fan base might be upset with something like this. A, you just gave Florida signs of life. It's now 2-1, not 3-0. Open that door up. The lead's cut in half. There's going to be some pressure on you here now on Sunday to win that game and to find a way to get that 3-1 series lead before coming back to Toronto. The Leafs are going to be the ones, at least traditionally, who are going to start to feel that discomfort. Okay, we got to get this one because otherwise it's tied. It's only a 1-0 lead. On the other side of it, or the other part of it, sorry, it's also a game in Florida. The fans are alive. They've got the second one at home here now. They've got another opportunity to continue that push. They've got another opportunity with the last change. We saw Paul Maurice make adjustments here tonight, whether it was within the lineup, if it was moving for Hagee away from Matthews and opening him up, and he looked pretty good tonight. Whatever it was, you're going to have another one that you have to deal with. Other things that we saw. Chris Tanev left the game, ends up coming back. He did look like he was fighting through something there. I have no doubt in my mind that guy plays Sunday. It is the Stanley Cup playoffs, as Alberga pointed out. It's going to take a lot of these guys, maybe not Matt Murray, but a lot of these guys to basically just be able to not get out of bed in the morning, to not play. But he did look a little banged up. The other thing is Joseph Woll looked a little shaky. He was shaky in Game 1 when he came in relief. He was okay or fine in Game 2. Game 3 here tonight, I didn't love Joseph Woll's game. Craig Berube says in the postgame there that other than the fourth goal, I didn't love the fourth goal, but other than that, he was fine. I think that's probably fair. The only thing I would say outside of that is even when he didn't let in goals, there were a lot of times where he looked like he was shaky. He was nervous. He was fighting it a little bit. There were just times where Joseph Woll just looked uncomfortable. He looked like he was just fighting the play and not able to kind of control things and look calm and look, like he was the one dictating how things went, where things went. The other thing was he was visibly struggling to break up dump-ins, to break out the pass, breakout plays when the puck was dumped in behind him. There were a few times he turned the puck over. There were a few times he made ill-advised decisions with the puck. There were just a couple of things with Joseph Woll tonight that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, and I felt a little bit uneasy watching him face shots. Even ones that were longer range were from further out. I think the Nosek goal really put a damper on things and made it feel like, okay, shit. This could be tough. We could watch a goaltender blow this one here. Those things do make you feel a little bit uncomfortable tonight. 6 1/3. Zach finally out of the bar, but getting a little pissy. We're breaking down the game. It's Leafs postseason. We're riding a roller coaster here, 6 1/3. 6 1/3. Listen, Zach, did you think it was Leafy that Florida was up a goal going into the third and we forced OT? That was close AF. The second period, blowing a 3-1 lead and being down 4-3 was Leafy. That's what I will say. All in all, I think the biggest story for tonight's game is going to be, and probably should be, Austin Matthews needs to score. I get the whole conversation that he's playing really well defensively. He's shutting down Barkov's line. He's winning those minutes matchup-wise, especially in the D zone. He's paid $13.25 million to score goals. Not be Phil Deneau. And I say that with all due respect to Phil Deneau. Phil Deneau is a defensive specialist who I believe, by the way, had more postseason goals than Austin Matthews. Never mind. He's tied with Austin Matthews. They both have 2. The point being, Phil Deneau is paid $5.5 million and basically does that. Austin Matthews is paid $13.25. He has 2 goals in these playoffs. That's not good enough. I don't care. It's not good enough. I know he's probably fighting through something. You can tell in the velocity. You can tell in the fact that he's missing all these shots, and it's just going high and wide. These opportunities that he's getting that are being created for him, whether it's by Marner or if it's by Nyes, and he's just not able to dial it in. He's not able to finish on these opportunities. I'm watching on the power play. There's times where he's getting it at the side. He's kind of in that spot where he's creeping in between the hash marks into the dot, and he's getting closer and closer to the middle. He's got chances to kind of shoot on Bob and take advantage of it. He's missing the net a lot. He needs to score more. You're paid $13.25 million. You need to score more goals. 2 goals at this point is just not fucking good enough. It's not. He's got to be better. He's got to generate more offensively. He's got to score goals. Honestly, we're up 2-1 in the series. Feel pretty good about it. But, like, the people who are going on and on and on about he's got 8 assists, he's got 10 points. Are you fucking kidding me? You need goals right now. You need those guys to score and come up clutch. Like, you need those guys to score. He's the goal scorer, and he's not scoring goals. I appreciate the other guys pitching in. I appreciate the other guys around him stepping up in his absence. But he's got to score more. He has to score more. Tano has more points per game. Well, there you go. Let's get to some of these super chats that we've got here. I know that Alex is going to call in, so as we wait for him, I do want to rip off some of these super chats. And again, a reminder, if you want to get in your super chats into the show, you want your question or your comment read on the show, make sure to send in those super chats. Proceeds from our super chats do go to Sick Kids Charity, so make sure to send those in here throughout the course of this one. Let's start with what we've got right at the top. This one came in from the beginning from Maxentius Decimus. This one says, boys played hard, nothing to be ashamed about. Ignore the crybabies in the chat. Go Leafs, go. I would agree with you. I think they played hard. I think they battled. I think there was a lot of positive signs despite losing this one. The only thing that makes you uncomfortable is the fact that you did have a 3-1 lead in this game and you let that one slip and you had to tie it. You had the Panthers by the balls. Like, you had this game in your control. 20 seconds in or whatever, you are getting Matthew Knies on the board. You've got the lead. JT scores. Like, you are in control of this one. As Nick brought up, took out the crowd, took them out of this game. Let them get back in. Panthers goals, Panthers go on a run, you let them get back in. That is frustrating. The other thing that's frustrating is still just going to be Matthews cannot score. Nate92 with the super chat. Another vintage Auston Matthews playoff performance. Truly the biggest waste of money in the entire league. If they lose this series, it's because he's a choking POS that can't even hit the net. Jeremy Scott says, amen. Maxentius Decimus. This was the person that I sent my super chat in for Zach to ignore. Tammy says, preach. Jeremy Scott says, Zach, you need to address your $10 donation. Yeah, I'm addressing it here now. Biggest waste of money in the entire league. I don't know about that. I think that that's probably a little bit of an aggressive statement in terms of Auston Matthews and what he brings. But yeah, like, you're not paid $13.25 for just regular season goals. The expectation is that you continue to score, generate, and be one of, if not the best goal scorer in the league when it comes to the playoffs and when it comes to when it matters the most. And he just can't find a way right now. And actually, to be honest, in years past. And at this point, he's the guy that is standing out more than the rest of all the guys in the core four as the guy who can't find ways to do it, can't find ways to get on the board. This is one of those ones, and I don't think it's his fault that he doesn't score or that they lose this one because he doesn't score tonight. But you look at each of these games, has yet to score against the Panthers this year. I believe back in 2023, he didn't score against the Panthers then either. Like, you're at a point here now where it's becoming a pattern of this guy just not being able to produce offensively. And truthfully, I don't care about this whole, like, you know, defensive game that he brings, how everybody are all fired up. I get it. You just get paid $13.25. You need to do more than just play defensively. Row Live. The D went brain dead in the second. Too many icings, out of position, fanning on passes, which led to 2 goals in 2 minutes. We tried to lose and still could have won. I think that that's a positive there as well. Like, you let that game get away, and in typical Leaf fashion, it's probably over. Like, that thing starts like that, and next thing you know, you're looking around and you're going, holy shit, how do we get here? Why is it 5-3 Panthers? And it's over. You had a chance. You sent it to OT. Like, those are positives. And it's not consolation prizes, and it's only 2-1, and it could have been 3-0, which is a different feel. But to go to OT and lose this one is a far better feeling than where you were at previously. So I will give them the credit on that and say, hey, you know what? They stayed in it, even with that sloppy second period. So kudos to them for that. Mike Fami with the super chat here as well. Matthews needs to step up already. Enough is enough. And that seems to be the sentiment here in the chat. And that blown lead within whatever it was, minute and 18 seconds, I think, something along those lines, minute and 8 maybe. That's tough, and it makes you feel sick to your stomach as a Leafs fan. But regardless, still 2-1. Still have an opportunity to make it 3-1. And get yourself home with a chance to close it out on home ice. Let's now get to our first call-in of the night. We had this guy waiting. I believe it's Alex A. on the line. He was in the chat there earlier saying he was going to call in. I do see we have another caller lined up, and we'll get to them in a moment. But before we do, Alex A., if that's you there, what's going on, brother?
It is. I'm doing pretty good, Zach, other than that. Oh.
All right, there we go, Alex. I got you now.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, other than, fortunately not winning the game tonight. But, it's okay. We move and we go to game 4, and let's take it in Florida. Let's take the 3 games in Florida.
What is it to you tonight that's the biggest story? Because I look at this one and just kind of look at that second period and that minute and a bit where it just got away from you. You felt the Panthers putting pressure, and then all of a sudden it was a couple of mistakes. They capitalized on the opportunities. Wall looks a little shaky. I don't think those goals in particular were his fault, but it was a little shaky. And then next thing you know, it's a tie game. You're down in the game. And you do obviously come back and tie it, but you lose this one. What is it for you here tonight, Alex, that you look at, you're like, yeah, this is the biggest thing, the biggest storyline of this one tonight?
Honestly, because I've been in the stream here on my way here home, but basically I was listening to what you're saying. I basically agree with what you're saying. I think Matthews is just, we are all talking about his defensive game, and sure, we're all aware he's playing great defensively. There's no doubt about it, but we pay him to score, and he's just not doing that. And I think for us to do absolutely, to go far and try and go on a full-on run here for the cup, let's just say theoretically, he needs to start putting the puck in the back of the net. He's missing it way too much. He's my favorite player on the Leafs, up there with Nyes, of course. But it's frustrating to watch, and I do agree. I think he's injured, so it's frustrating, and I hope maybe it turns around for him, and maybe he starts potting a few in. That'd be great. And a game winner or something would be awesome. But fortunately, that's just not happening right now. So it's really frustrating to watch as a fan, of course.
Yeah, I agree. I see a comment here. Zoran the Barbarian. Alex, you sound nervous. Calm down, pal.
Oh, no, I'm actually not nervous. I'm confident in this team. I'm just speaking my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's kind of where Leafs Nation is at right now. It's all over the place. I'm seeing people who are basically saying Wall was horrible. You can't play him. You need Stolarz back. People who are saying calm down, pump the brakes. It's all over the map, and I completely get it. It's a 2-1 series lead, but given the history of this team, I don't think anybody in Leafs Nation ever feels comfortable. Even this morning, I was listening to everything. I was watching everything. I'm talking about it on different shows, and it's 2-0 series lead, and it's the Florida Panthers. So I don't feel comfortable. So, it's just I'm never going to feel comfortable until they actually do it and show us that we have a reason not to, and we can get over that hump, Alex.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree anymore. There's still a lot of series to go, right? If we take one in Florida, right, next game hopefully, we're in a good position, and, I think we could definitely succeed and go on a far run here. I don't know. People are saying I'm nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm just being realistic with how our game, how we perform tonight. It's really it. So I don't know. I don't appreciate those chirps. I ain't gonna lie, but it's all good. It's all good.
What do you think about Joseph Woll here tonight? His game, because I looked at that fourth goal, the Nosek goal. I keep butchering that every time. Nosek goal. And it's like, that's the one to me, because that's the Samsonov goal, the Freddie Anderson goal. That's the one where it's a backbreaker. And I feel good about the team and the fact that they responded. But that's the one that, you can't give up. Vic in our chat during the game, he's like, that goal can never go in. It's not just in the playoffs and tied 3-3. It's in game 13 of the regular season that goal can't go in. But what'd you make of his game here tonight? Are you worried about him at all?
Honestly, I think I still got confidence in Woll. It was pretty shaky. I think, I don't know, between him working, when he goes out for the puck, right, on the dump-ins and stuff, he just got to, I don't know, work on his game a little bit there, be more aware, don't second guess, be confident with the puck. And that's something Stolarz is. It's a big difference between that, Stolarz retrieving those pucks and Woll. So I think, it's just a confidence thing, I think. And I think if Woll gets rolling, we'll be good. And I think he definitely can still. We've seen him play in many elimination games. I know we lost Game 7 last year and so on, but we've seen him play in these elimination games, do or die, and he's done good. So I have full confidence in him. It's my opinion. Full confidence.
Fair enough. Anything else stand out to you here tonight, Alex? We do have another caller waiting. I see people in the chat there asking if they can get called into the show here. So anything else that stands out to you here from this game? Anything positive, negative, whatever it may be?
Something positive I'd say is I think Knies looked involved all game, and I thought he was in the scrums, hard on the boards. Obviously scored the goal within 23 seconds of us being in the game, so that was a great way to kind of put the team on your back and say, let's go, boys. We're the away team. Let's get a goal and get fired up. So I think his game was impressive. And, I think one negative thing is that we're not kind of talking about too much is Nylander. I think he could be way better. I mean, he's not going to be scoring 2 goals every game, but, it is what it is. So, maybe next game he goes in, pots one, and plays a great game. But I got confidence in him too. So those are the 2 biggest takeaways. And we already spoke about Matthews, so I don't need to go on about that again.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Alex, I appreciate you calling in. I look forward to being able to hear from you again very soon. So thank you for doing this here tonight. Any final words, anything else you want to say before you leave us here tonight?
Just have confidence in the boys. That's it. I got all the confidence in the world. They've showed us some things, there's lots of ways to go still here. But, take the positives and, ride with the boys. We got it. I think we really got it. And it's just don't be worried. Just enjoy the ride and let's do it, boys. That's it. Just stay calm, cool, and collected. They should be the Leafs players. Nope,
You're
not
not
at
worried. All right. I respect that. I respect the confidence. I respect the comfort of which you're displaying here on the show. So, Alex, thank you for calling in here tonight. Appreciate it as always. You enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, thank you. You too. Take care, Zach.
All right, let's get to our next caller here on the show. He was waiting when we hopped in there just before Alex, or just as Alex had gotten in. Who do we have? I think we've got a first-time caller here on the show. Who do we have next up?
Yeah, it's Chris here. Zach, how you doing?
Hey, Chris, I'm doing all right. I think I would be doing better if it was 3-0 series lead for the Leafs, but regardless, 2-1, I can't be too mad, and they did push to OT, so not as frustrated as I guess it could have been after this one.
Same here, and I'm not going to repeat what the other caller said because that's exactly what I was going to talk about, but I have an observation. The Panthers, it was like life and death for them to win this game, okay? That's all I have to say. This game, I'm telling you, if the Leafs would have had just average goaltending, I'm not saying Woll was terrible, but Woll was equal to Bobrovsky tonight. So if they would have just had average goaltending, Leafs would have won this game. That's it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Yeah.
I think that's actually a fair point. This was one of those games. Chris, that is actually a really good point because you look at the body of work for this Leafs team to get to where they are. The series against Ottawa, the first 2 games against Florida. I don't think anybody really feels like the Maple Leafs have played their best 60 minutes yet in this series or in this playoffs. I was listening to Pierre McGuire on with Jeff Merrick earlier today, and he was talking about the fact that if you're the Leafs fan or if you were the Maple Leafs, you should feel confident in this because we have not yet seen that. And then this game here tonight, it was the Panthers throwing everything they had at the wall, literally and figuratively, I guess, in that sense. And they get away with a 4-3, or 5-4, excuse me, overtime victory against this Leafs team. And you had that blip, you gave up the lead that you had, and even then, you found a way to send this thing to OT. So that's a good point, Chris.
Absolutely right. So my prediction, Game 4, Leafs win it as long as they get decent goaltending, and I think they're going to take the series in 5.
You think they get this thing in 5, then, eh?
Yeah, I really do. As long as they get decent goaltending the next game, they win this. Because one thing I've noticed about this team, I know, everyone's saying, "Oh, they're different," but they have something this year. I've been following the Leafs for 60 years, man. Okay, I was 5 years old when the Leafs won the cup.
Okay.
All right. So I'm a lifer here, and I can tell you this team over the past 8 years, they are different. And I'm going to say one more thing, and I don't want to say, talk about the past, but man, what a waste of 8 years. Brendan Shanahan hired a rookie GM, a rookie coach, okay? And if they would have got Tree Living or even kept, what's his face there from, I can't remember his name off top of my head. From
Lou and Babcock?
Lou, yeah. And they would have got a decent coach in there, I think we would have already had that parade a few years ago. And I'm serious, too.
You think so, eh?
Yeah, but you know what? I don't want to harp on the past. I'm just stating a fact that I think is a fact. Yeah.
The thing I will definitely agree with you on is the fact that the ideas of how this team should be built and a Stanley Cup team should be built are very different than what you had before, and what you have now is very clearly the closest you've been to being a team built for a Stanley Cup. Whether or not you win it is yet to be determined. Whether or not you get there is yet to be determined. Whether or not you get out of the second round, Chris, is yet to be determined. But I think what you see now is the closest they've ever been in terms of construction, and it's a completely different philosophy. So I will 100% give you credit on that one. Last thing I want to ask you, you talk about the goaltending, and you're talking about if you had average goaltending, you think you win this one. Do you trust still Joseph Woll's the guy to do it? I mean, Anthony Stolarz obviously didn't travel on this one. Matt Murray ends up sick and doesn't even sit on the bench, so it's Dennis Hildeby who's backing up Joseph Woll tonight. Do you still trust Joseph Woll can be the guy to get them over the top and over the edge?
Honestly, I think he can bounce back. Okay. I think Woll can win a game. I would prefer Stolarz in there, but honestly, I think this is going to be a long run for the Leafs, so you want Stolarz 100% for later. Okay, so I don't believe in rushing him back. Quite frankly, I think Woll can do it the next game. He's just got to calm down, settle down, and like you were saying, talking about with the previous caller, stop playing the puck. This guy is horrible handling the puck.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I have full confidence, man. This team, like I said, it's been a long time coming, and I've been, waiting for a long time. And I really think Panthers, I don't think are a real threat. Okay, they are a real threat. Okay, but I think the Leafs can handle the Panthers. Let's just put it that way. And even if they don't get by, like the Panthers, for whatever reason, Panthers don't win the cup this year. I guarantee it. They're not winning the cup.
Okay.
I don't know. I have a feeling about this team this year. They're beatable. So I just hope the Leafs can beat them first.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that point that you're making there would definitely drive home even more so the fact that you gotta find a way here to get through this series.
Oh, yeah, man.
And to beat the Panthers. This is probably the most susceptible they've been. I do still think, personally, the Panthers are legit. I just think that we're seeing some signs of maybe some exhaustion and maybe some some banged up bodies there in that group. But Chris,
Okay, yeah,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I didn't mean to like imply that they weren't legit.
Yeah.
I just meant to say they look beatable, and they are beatable as far as
Yes,
I'm concerned.
and I think that's fair. I think that's
And,
fair.
and I think the Leafs are going to pull this out. I really do. Let's just keep the faith. Just hope, number 34 shows up. That's all I got on the offensive part of this game. That's all I got to say.
So are you with me there on that then? I'll ask you that before I let you go. You're with me there on that? I'm all happy with the defensive play. I'm not going to rip on this guy and say that he stinks and he's disappeared and he's a ghost, because he's really impactful on that side of the puck, and I will give him that. But he's paid $13.25 million. And Chris, I don't remember a time where a defensive player, a defensive specialist, was paid $13.25 million. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember a time.
I don't either. So let's just hope he shows up. He's trying his best. And you know what? You can't hate on the guy. There's a lot of haters out there. You know he's trying, right? So,
Yeah.
And you got to give him a chance. And I think he's due. He's overdue. And maybe it'll be in game 4. And everybody out there, just keep the faith, man. These guys will pull it off. I know it. They're going to pull it off. That's all I got to say, Zach. And by the way, nice talking to you for the first time.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in, Chris. You're welcome back here anytime. The link is in the chat there for the most part when we do the call-ins on the post-game show. And Chris, I appreciated this conversation. I appreciated getting to hear from you here tonight, and thank you for the support on the show.
All right, bud. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Chris. We'll talk to you soon. All right, let's now get to our next caller. He's been waiting here in the wings. He did jump on, and I think he was wearing a Leafs jersey and a Leafs hat. He's turned off his camera now, and I'm not going to show him on the screen anyway, so we'll leave him be. But let's now welcome to our show our next caller. Who are we talking to here on the post game? Yeah, I can hear myself in the background there. Who do we got? Who do we got calling in right now?
Shit, Zach, is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
Holy cow, man. Dude, love listening to the show. This shit's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Leafs lose this one 5-4 in overtime here tonight. What's the vibe like? I know, I'll just be honest. I know who you are. So I know you were out. You were out on the town. You were out in the city. Are people depressed? Is it dark? What's going on out there, Cheech?
Hey, I'm not here to talk about what happened tonight. What happened tonight is what happened tonight. It's way she goes. I got one message for you here. 4 words. Pacioretty is a beast. I'm sick of the fucking slander out there. It's goddamn ridiculous that we're talking trash about him. Every time he touches the ice, he makes an opportunity happen. I'm telling you, every time I see him on the ice, he's making a play in front of the net. Something's happening. I am sick of the slander against him. Let's hear it for Pacioretty. He is a goddamn beast out there on the ice.
Gets the assist on the JT goal. Made a great play across. JT obviously ends up wrapping that around. But, yeah, I thought he looked good here tonight as well. Anything else for us? What else you got from tonight's game?
I'll give it
just
to the
in the
haters.
series, because you don't want to talk about tonight.
Defense. I'll give it to the haters. He plays defense like he's feather dust in his trophy case. But when he's on offense, he gets shit done. Shit is going on in the offensive zone every time he touches the ice with those 2 butter knives he has for skates. He is getting shit done.
Are we
he
still
is
talking
making
about
opportunities
Pacioretty?
happen in front of the net.
We're still talking about Pacioretty?
I don't care about anyone else on the Leafs. I don't give a shit about Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Nylander. I don't care about any of them. Number 1 player on the Leafs, Pacioretty. He is the one that's going to give us the goals, that's going to lead us to the finals. I'm telling you right now. If I was a betting man, I'd put him for playoff MVP right here.
I don't think I'll be doing that, but I appreciate that anyways. Anything
Mark
else?
my words, I'll be calling in every single time you guys have it going on, and I'm going to be reminding you after he goes goal after goal after goal every night. Pacioretty's the fucking dude. Let's go, Leafs.
All right. Anything else? Oh, he's gone. He's gone. There you go. I appreciate that. I appreciate the positive vibes, the fire up here tonight on the post-game show Not everything is positive. Not everything is all sunshine and rainbows in Leafs land, but apparently Max Pacioretty's getting the people going after Game 3 of the second round. So thank you to Cheech for calling in. I appreciate that. For those of you who haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the Leafs Nation 401 YouTube channel. If you haven't already, we're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers on the Leafs Nation YouTube channel, so make sure to subscribe to the channel. People are asking, is that your roommate? No, it's not. It is not my roommate. But keep hitting that like button. Let's get ourselves up to 100 likes here on the post-game show. Keep them coming in. We also got more super chats. We've got a couple more segments to get to before we wrap up tonight's post-game show. As well, if people are wondering how to call into the show, the link that's pinned to the top there is the call-in link. Whenever we're taking calls, we will get to that one. So we'll post that in the chat, and it'll be pinned at the top. You guys can call in and give us your thoughts on the game. These are brand new smelling salts, so I can smell them the second I open the bottle. Thanks for hitting that like button. Let's get it to 100. There you go. There's the smelling salts. Game 3. Round 2. Leafs Nation After Dark. More smelling. There you go. There's the smelling salts. More smelling salts at 100. More super chats we've got here. This super chat comes in from my guy, Colton Davies. Colton, I appreciate the super chat. He just says, simply put, now we go. And you know what, Colton? It's still 2-1 in the series. The Florida Panthers are going to be a tough out. We knew this wasn't going to be easy. But you are still up. You have an opportunity to make it 3-1 on Sunday. So more than ever, now we go. Also, I want people to know out there, Vic and Alberga are in the press box. Obviously, they're with our guy Stephen Ellis, who I believe is going to call into the show on Sunday following the game. And then Jeff Merrick is out there with them as well. They're in the press box. So Vic is not wearing his patented Toronto Maple Leafs OVO hoodie. He's not wearing the gold trim and all that kind of stuff, his backwards cap. He's dressed up nice and he looks cleaned up. He sent me a video before the game. He's wearing a button-up shirt and his undershirt, the Now We Go shirt. His undershirt right now in Media Row in Sunrise, Florida, is the Now We Go shirt. And honestly, at this point, I just don't understand how you can get more passionate than that. You're down there in Florida. You're in enemy territory. You're not even allowed to cheer. He's pinching Alberga. He's wearing Now We Go shirts under his gear. You got to appreciate the passion from our guy, producer Vic. And, we're not here for a playoff push or for a round or 2 rounds. We are here for a run. And if you want to get your Now We Go shirts, make sure to head on over to Leafs, to nationgear.ca. Actually, wait. I think I just read that wrong. Nation Gear. No, I didn't. nationgear.ca is the right one. I was half reading one of my reads that I had, and then I half read the other read that I had where there is a .ca and there is a .com. .ca, nationgear.ca, if you want to get your Now We Go shirts, wear what the boys are wearing. I wasn't wearing mine tonight because I was wearing this. I had won 3 games in a row wearing this shirt. Now it's time to switch things up. Now I'm going to go to the other shirts. Back to the Now We Go. I'm not going to wear the white one. I will wear one of the black or the blue ones, but we got plenty of options, and if you want to join us, make sure to get yours as well. This is where I was going with reading part of the other reads that I am fixed up here now and got the right one. If you are looking to get all the coverage you need, whether it's nonstop articles, breakdowns, reactions, all that kind of stuff, you can check it out. Nonstop action and exclusive coverage at theleafsnation.com. Dyslexic here says, I love this channel, but Now We Go is dumb as fuck and makes no sense. Haha. No, it makes sense. And it is not dumb as fuck. Keep hitting that like button. Subscribe here to the channel. Let's keep going here on tonight's show. We got a couple more segments to get to. Let's now get to our play of the game. Play of the game for tonight. I think the play of the game... Honestly, you know what? I think tonight's play of the game is going to be the Knies goal. You open the scoring. You take control of the game like that early on. There's a huge level of appreciation for that and starting on time. I know things didn't end the right way, but it's hard to be mad about opening things up 20 seconds in, being in the right spot, getting to the net. I don't know. Like, I think that's going to be my play of the game. It's as simple as that. 23 seconds in, open the scoring. I love the fact that they pushed back, but for me, I think that's it. Let's now get to our grade of the game, and our grade of the game segment is presented by Greta Bar YYZ. Not at Greta Bar here tonight, but we have been for each of the last few playoff games. Thank you to our friends at Greta. A great spot before, during, and after the game. We've been watching all the games at Greta, as you guys know, doing the pre and the post game there. They've got a great street food menu. We've been absolutely crushing that. $7 nachos. Games in the arcade. I know some people like producer Vic have been blowing off steam in between periods there at Greta. You know, going over the basketball, just trying to get it out and say, you know what, let's get the tensions out here. Let's get back to it after this. And it's been working. It has been working. Weekly drink specials. Greta Bar is the place to be. 590 King Street West. Greta Bar. Let the games begin. So make sure to join us there at Greta Bar YYZ. It has been an amazing time. We will be back for Game 5. So don't worry about that. Not there on Sunday, but back for Game 5. Live on location at Greta. Get your grade of the game in here now. I want to see what everyone has. I want to see how everyone is feeling about this one here tonight. I want to know your thoughts on the game. I want to know just the overall feel, how you would summarize this in a singular grade. Where are you at on tonight's game? As well, we will get to shortly the best bet segment. But I think the grade of the game for me tonight, I think the grade is going to be a B. I loved the start. I loved the fact that they pushed back on the Panthers. They made it 2-1. They opened it up and made it 3-1. The power play goal by JT, which, by the way, I still think the power play needs to be better, but you do get a power play goal by JT. I don't think Joseph Woll had the greatest night. That fourth goal really made me sick, and I think if that one doesn't go in, this team just finds a way to win this game, win it in reg. I think you don't have to fight back for that extra goal like that. I think you just get the one and it's probably over. And I'm not going to blame Joseph Woll for the loss, but I just don't think that he was his best. 861 save percentage, and you know what? You're probably right. You get a 900 save percentage there, as Chris mentioned. You get a little bit better than Bob, who had an 871 on the other side. He stopped 27 of 31 shots against. You probably win this game, but you didn't get it. And that one goal is going to stick out to me, where he just reaches out to punch it and knocks it into his own net. You know, let me tell a quick story. When I was in university, I was playing men's league, intramurals, I guess. And our goalie, I'll never forget. We couldn't find a goalie. None of our buddies wanted to play. Anybody who was a goalie before, they just didn't want to play. They wanted to hang it up. So we find this guy. Find him on Facebook. We put out, like, does anyone want to play goalie? He says yes. He says he played. I'm like, all right, sure. So he comes out, Nice guy, tries hard, shows up to every single game. He used to try to catch pucks or try to block or at pucks. And he would be like a second or a half second too late. I swear. The puck would come in from the blue line. It would be there, and then he'd be like, and it would hit his glove and go in. Or he'd go like that, and it would miss and go in. And we always used to think, like, man, this guy's just, he can't, like, he's just not very good. He's slow. One day, I go into class. He's in my class. I'm like, okay. Why is this guy wearing glasses? And I go up and I talk to him, and I just casually drop in there. I'm like, I didn't know you wear glasses. And he goes, oh, yeah, I just don't like to wear them when I play. I said, yeah, that makes sense. I said, so yeah, I guess you wear contacts? And he says, no, I don't like contacts. I went, wow. That makes a lot of sense. And that goaltender is what I thought of when I saw Joseph Woll reach out to punch that blocker, that puck away into the corner and knock it into his own net. All I thought of was that guy from back in the day at university who didn't wear his glasses, just didn't wear contacts because he didn't like them. And that goal went in, and I went, oh no. Anyways, it's a B for me. A good fight. Power play here tonight, 1 for 4. You get the 1. 25% isn't bad, but I think that there was some moments there where they just looked like they didn't have it, really. Good on the penalty kill tonight, though. I will give the penalty kill credit. 3 for 3 in this one. 64 hits for the Panthers. They finished every check. They were very physical here tonight. But I'll give the Leafs credit. They looked like they hung in there. They looked like they were able to go toe-to-toe with it. And they played a very physical brand of hockey themselves. So kudos to the Maple Leafs. Last segment before we wrap this thing up. Semcast, by the way, there on his grade. I see this. Shout out to Semcast, who I got to meet the other day at Greta, actually, which was pretty cool. Who I think is on his way right now out to Penticton, BC. I don't know. I'm assuming he's not there yet because he was driving and he was leaving after Game 2, the next day, that is. But Semcast, I'm D for done. See y'all Sunday. Let's win for the Mothers. Fair enough. I think that's a good point. Let's win for the Mothers. All right, super chat. Or no, not a super chat. Man, I am gassed. This has been a long week. This playoff run, I'm loving this. Let's get to our best bet segment. Thank you to our friends at Bet365. If you want to get in on the action for the Stanley Cup playoffs, at Bet365, they've got you from game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Best bet of the game tonight? We had 3. We go 1 and 2. But we finish positive. We profit, $130 on a Johnny T anytime goal. We risked 50 on that one, a half unit, to profit 130. We lose the Leafs money line. That one we lose $50 on. So that brings our total on the night down to 80. Profit, and then we lost the William Nylander anytime goal, another 50. So we profit $30 on the night. Just the Johnny T anytime goal gets home, and that is it. Nylander anytime loses. Maple Leafs money line loses. I'm happy with that bet though. Happy for the Leafs bet, and I still think even with this loss, there was a moment of old Leafs. But they didn't let that be the case for the rest of the game. They battled back. They tied it. It went to OT. You lost on a shot that hit Morgan Rielly for effectively his third goal of the game. It's a tough bounce. Who knows how this thing goes moving forward? But as of right now, I am pretty happy with this Leafs team. What we've seen from them through 3 games. Thank you all for watching the show here tonight. That's going to do it for me. Game 4 on Sunday. Reminder, programming note, Saturday, noon Eastern tomorrow. Leafs Morning Take, Nick Alberga, Jeff Merrick, live on location in Sunrise, Florida. Sunday, I believe the boys are back there as well. We'll also be having a special edition of The Sheet on Sunday. And then Sunday, we will also do a pregame video like I always do, and a Leafs Nation After Dark breaking down everything that happened after the game. Thank you guys all for watching here tonight. That's going to do it for me on the post-game show. This has been another edition of Leafs Nation After Dark, covering Game 3 of Round 2 of the Toronto Maple Leafs playoff push against the Florida Panthers, losing this one 5-4 in overtime. You have the lead, you blew it. You tie it up, and then you blow it in overtime. It's an unfortunate way for this thing to end when you were that close to going up 3-0, but that is how it is. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching. As always, I will see you guys back here on Sunday for more Leafs pregames and After Darks. Until then, enjoy your weekends. Happy Mother's Day. And keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications